Welcome to the Joe Watson Show podcast.
You're very welcome along to the podcast this week. Yes, I did miss last week because last week was the Queen's Platinum, as a Jubilee, or the Queen's Jubilee, 70 years in the throne. Congratulations, ma'am. This week I debated because I have a flu-y, coldy thing, and I'm still feel it in the back of my throat. So if I start to sound weirder than normal, then do let me know. But or do forgive me even. This week is going to be a two-parter because it's just a topic I thought I would just this week and next week concentrate. Well, this week mainly. Next week I'll just at the start, so if I get any replies back. So I'm going to talk about a certain topic, and I'm going to sort of talk about either side, the pros and the not so pros, the con sort of side of things. So this week we're going to be talking about men's style. And there is a margin of the community that still like to dress like 1930s gentlemen, 1940s gentlemen, 1920s, 1950s gentlemen. Shirts, ties, quality suits, bespoke suits, should I say. Shine shoes, and could be dicky bow ties. There's obviously a pocket square. There's handkerchiefs. There's braces. There's a whole line, top coats and hats even as well. There's a whole section on YouTube. I follow one or two of them. Two of them I can remember is Real Men, Real Style, and that guy's name is Antonio Centeno, and he does things like tutorials on how to dress well and how to pack a suitcase like a gentleman, how to wear a tie, how to tie a tie, how to iron a shirt properly, how to do all this stuff, pack a suitcase. I think I said that before. Different things, and it's all about doing it in the style of a gentleman. The other one is Kirby Allison, who I've only discovered recently. Another guy again wears suits. He wears double-breasted suits. Probably know what they are. There's buttons on both sides, and you can button it either way, I think. But my tongue's just went at the spasm. But so there is still that era, and there's still those guys out there that still. Again, I know a few more, but I just don't remember their names. That like to dress that way. And me personally, when I'm at home, I'll slum it. I could wear jeans and a t-shirt. But whenever I'm out and about, I like to wear a nice casual shirt, nice pair of jeans, nice pair of shoes. Sometimes, mostly it's trainers, but sometimes I'll break out and wear a nice pair of boots. Church, again, I like to, in the summer months, I like to sort of go casual with a nice nice casual dressy shirt and nice pair of trousers or jeans. Again, a nice pair of shoes. In the winter months, or there's something special on, like communion or the moderator's coming or something like that, there I like to wear a shirt and tie and a suit. It's just who I am, and I still think men should dress like men instead of some of the things you see in Fashion Week where they're wearing skirts and they're wearing. Now, I'm not talking about kilts. Kilts is a whole different story, and I'm not going to get on to men shouldn't wear kilts, because men should wear kilts, but men need to be Scottish to wear kilts. You can't come to a wedding wearing a kilt and say, "Oh, my great grandmother's dog was Scottish," or a Scottish Terrier, so I'm wearing this as a tribute to my grandmother's late dog. No. You have to have actually Scottish descendants, or indeed be a Scotchman yourself to wear a kilt. That having been said, I do have a tartan tie that I wear on several occasions because my family line come from Scotland. I would love to wear a kilt, but again, I don't know if I would. I don't know. I'd like it. I think it may be a bit airy, obviously, but. Yeah, so there's two sides of the argument here with this one. There is the argument where that's archaic, and I googled it a long time ago, a few weeks ago. I say a long time ago, probably a few months ago. Are ties a thing of the past? And sadly, Google has the definition that says yes, ties are now beginning to go out of fashion. And I disagree with that because I have a wardrobe full of ties and I love a quality tie. I have one tie. No, I have more than one tie. I must have 30 or 40. But I have one tie specifically, should I say, there's the cold. You can hear that in the back. Sorry. You can hear that in the background there. But I have one tie specifically that is actually from the makers of the royal ties. And when I say royal ties, I mean the tie makers to Prince Charles, to the late Duke of Edinburgh. You know, all these fancy ties that they wear. I have one fancy tie from the makers that make those. And I wear that with pride now and again. It's a lovely, a vibrant purple tie with stripes, and it's just a beautiful tie. And I love tie. I love ties. And if I could get away with wearing a tie every day, I would. I love ties. And I think, me personally, I think men should adapt or should wear what they wore 40, 50, 60 years ago. I think we've lost style. There's nothing wrong with women wearing trousers, by the way. This is not what this podcast is about. Women should wear whatever they want. Men should wear what they want, but men should dress like men. You know, and you see these guys with their trousers at their hips, and keep your trousers up, boys. And as a bigger man, yes, I have trouble keeping me up, but I do my best to keep my trousers up. You know, there's obviously people in America that wear their waistband down sort of below their groin. Why? You know? Sorry, I'm getting really dried up, and I should have brought a drink up with me, but I didn't think. So, you know, why do people dress like that? You know? There's not, and even when it comes to colours, I think men should embrace pink. Pink is such a vibrant colour. It means so many different things, obviously, but we're not going to go down that route today. This is again not that type of podcast. I think pink is a great manly colour, and I think if you're comfortable, it doesn't matter if you're not comfortable in your sexuality. Pink, there's obviously you wouldn't get me in a hot pink shirt, put it that way. But salmon and subtle pinks, and even a vibrant pink, yes. I have a beautiful vibrant pink tie, and I love wearing that with a blue shirt and a white shirt. I love that there. I love it. I just love my pink tie. I love all my ties. And you know, so yeah. I want to know your thoughts on all this. I would love to know what you think. Should we just go with the flow and so go with the flow, or do you think men have lost their way a few years ago? That we all should still be wearing top coats and shirts and ties and three-piece suits, and even pocket watches. I love a pocket watch. Whenever I wear my suit, I sometimes have my pocket watch on there. I have a few pocket watches. I have one my mother bought it for me for my 30th birthday. I have a wind-up one that I have my own. When my mother passes on, I will then have my late grandfather's pocket watch. So I love pocket watches. I've lost another thing that I struggle with. I have lost the ability to wear a wristwatch. You know, we've all got a mobile phone nowadays. The time is there, just at a hit of a button. There it is, 5:59 p.m. and the date, Friday the 10th of June. So, you know, we have lost the ability. There is people still wear wristwatch, but we've lost that ability to have that wristwatch right there. I'm tapping my wrist, by the way, on there, and you can look at it and say it's 6 o'clock. You know, so pocket watch as well. You know, pick out the pocket watch and look, and I love that act of doing that. That act of, trusting that the pocket watch is saying the right time. Take it out and look at it and say, right, it's this time. But maybe I am. And also another thing I think men have lost over time is how to shave. A lot of men use electric razors. You still have stubble, okay? A lot of men use that old stuff out of a shaving can, that Gillette stuff. Or you can get, and then there's multi-blade razors that vibrate like a martelade. All those things are good, but what about the old way? It's foppish, it's old. Why do we even... I still shave the way my grandfather taught me, which was a shaving brush, a double-edged razor blade, a safety razor, and water. And that's the way I shave. And I even have used a cutthroat razor, the straight razors as well. I'm not going out telling you, right, you have to shave this way. This is not this kind of podcast where I'm telling you how you should do it. I'm just saying, this is how men did it years ago. And there is some sections of the community who still keep that. And I think men have lost their way in the last 50 years, But then, here's the flip of the coin. And I have to say this because... I have to be impartial. And yes, I'm allowed my opinion, but I want to be impartial as well. Take the royal family, for instance. All the royal family men are all still stuck in an era. Doesn't matter what age they are. They're the Jubilee weekend. You saw the 3 children. George, the wee girl, what's the wee Charlotte, and then Prince Louis. Prince Louis was dressed up like a child from the 1930s. And then we have the future king, the wee man himself, sitting with a shirt and tie and suit on. Now, that's lovely. He looked like a real wee gentleman. He really did. What was wrong with a casual shirt or a wee t-shirt or a wee hoodie? The monarchy are actually stuck in a time warp where there's, and I suppose they have to be seen to do that, and... Laura and I have been watching this series called The Royals, and it was on E, but now Netflix have it, and it's about a modern royal family, and there's a king, and there's his 3 children, and his wife, the Queen, and the series goes on for 4 seasons, and they're all modern royalty. And I think that would be brilliant. I think and instead of if I think I hear from rumors that Prince Charles is quite a modernist, but I believe that Prince William's quite a traditionalist. So I'm not saying this to be the truth, but if the Queen was to die today or tomorrow, Charles would take over. Charles would want to modernise the thing, and then maybe 10, 20 years' time down the line when he, as an old man, maybe died, or the man's 74 or 73 or 70. It's 73, I think he is. He maybe is 74. 20. Was he going to see 30 years? I don't know. That's a sin for me to say that. But his son's then going to take over, and apparently William's quite a traditionalist. I don't know. I don't know. But back to the topic at hand. Should men be dressing like men, or should they just go with the times? Yes, there's the in trend this, there's the in trend that, and that's fine. I do that. I do get the latest shirt. I do get the latest pair of trainers. I do get the latest pair of jeans or whatever. The latest pair of sunshades. Only I have to go through my optician to get them. Get them to my prescription. Because then I couldn't see out of them if I didn't have my prescription. But I would love to hear from you guys what you think about, not even about what I'm saying. What do you think about the way men dressed years ago? Do you think this is the question I will pose to you? Do you think men dressed better in the 1900s? And I'm talking about early 1900s. I'm not talking about 1990 or 1980. I'm talking about further back. I say the first 60 years of the 1990s, from 1900 to 1960. Why do I say 1960? Well, people are still saying 2022. It's not 2022, it's 2022. So it's 1960. So if you say 1960, you're entitled to say, you have to say 2022. Anyway, so from 1900 to 1960, or are men better dressed now? Which do you prefer?
Email the podcast at joewatsonshow.com. Remember to check out the website, joewatsonshow.com.
So this week I have been changing the subject slightly. I have a lot of new things going through my head about branching it into a video podcast or whatever. I'm really enjoying the Rodecaster Pro, and I'm enjoying the whole, I've learned mostly all the, and I actually now Fuse FM using one of these in their studio too, which is quite exciting. And hopefully then that'll be a good place for myself and Sammy to do our podcast from. And Sammy and I are going to be doing a radio version of our podcast where we'll be playing music, and in our podcast we'll be doing talking just. So we've had 2 episodes so far of non-podcast. It was on the radio. We did an hour on my show, I did an hour on his show, and we had a blast. And people actually interacted with the show, and people said, people were saying this is what Fuse FM needs. We've had 2 years of COVID. We have 18, 20 months or 24 months or whatever of COVID, and now is the time where we come together and we show that Fuse FM is not just full of singular presenters doing A, B, and C. They're also going to be mixing and gelling and becoming friends. I think in the last 18 to 24 months, we've all lost the capability of making friends. I think because we've been locked up in our houses. We're not allowed to say boo. We weren't even allowed to hug our grannies. Through, it was times like through COVID that I was glad my both grandparents had sadly passed away, and it breaks my heart to say that. But if they had both had got COVID, they both would have been dead long ago. No, that doesn't make sense because they are dead long ago. I mean, if they were still living through COVID, they'd have been taken by COVID. And it just breaks my heart to think that, because they're my grandparents, but I'm thankful that they're both gone and they went at the time they needed to be. Anyway, we're not going to go. Anyway, so what was I saying? Yeah. So it brings in the fact that the presenters on Fuse are on all radio stations. I see BBC Radio 2 are doing a major shake-up. I see Craig Charles has been sent away, has been cut, which is a bit upsetting because he did do a banging show. But, so it shows that, radio stations aren't just employees, robots going in, doing the show, going home. They're actually making friends behind scenes. Like Fuse, we now have a meetup every so often with all the presenters that do live shows, and they come for pizza, or we're planning to having a movie night or whatever we do. But we're interacting with each other, and we're doing things together, and we're building friendships. And Sammy and I have built really a good friendship, and we're just 2 Egypts together. And what you hear on the radio is half of what we really are. we really are those 2 students in a classroom, 2 people that have to keep separated, but find their way back to sit beside each other to cause mayhem. So that is it. So I want to know your thoughts on the men's style. Did you like the way men dressed years ago, or do you think what we're doing nowadays is the best way out, the best way we should be dressing? So
email the podcast at joewatsonshow.com. Remember to check out the website, joewatsonshow.com.
So that's what you do. You email me or get in touch via wherever you want. Even if you're on my Facebook, why don't you pop me a PM, just say, Joe, I think the way men dressed years ago was neat. I think we should maybe try and keep that, or keep a version of it. Or no, Joe, I think you're mad. I think the style we have nowadays is far more casual, is far more comfortable, and there's less onus on having to look that way all the time. And in a way, yes, I agree, because like men years ago used to have to slick their hair, and nowadays a lot of men get up with bedhead. Certainly I do, a finger up in the air. I sometimes kind of work with just my hair barely brushed. you know. But anyway, I am going to head on now, folks, because my throat's getting worse, and I'll see you all next week. All the best. Bye-bye.